The 1954 FIFA World Cup, the fifth staging of the FIFA World Cup, was held in Switzerland from 16 June to 4 July. Switzerland was chosen as hosts in July 1946. The tournament set a number of all-time records for goal scoring, including the highest average goals scored per game. The tournament was won by West Germany, who defeated Hungary 3-2 in the final, giving them their first title. Switzerland was awarded the tournament unopposed on July 22, 1946, the same day that Brazil was selected for the 1950 World Cup, in Luxembourg City. The hosts, Switzerland, and the defending champions, Uruguay, qualified automatically. Of the remaining 14 places, 11 were allocated to Europe, including Egypt, Turkey and Israel, 2 to the Americas, and 1 to Asia. Scotland, Turkey and South Korea made their World Cup debuts at this tournament. Turkey and Scotland had qualified for the 1950 competition but both withdrew. Austria appeared for the first time since 1934. Turkey would not participate at a finals again until the 2002 competition, while South Korea's next appearance would be in 1986. The third and fourth place teams from 1950, Sweden and Spain, both failed to qualify. In a shock result, Spain was eliminated by Turkey. After the two countries had tied a 3-game series, Turkey progressed by drawing of lots. German teams were allowed to qualify again, after having been banned from the 1950 FIFA World Cup. West Germany qualified against fellow Germans from the Saarland, which then was a French protectorate, while East Germany had not entered, cancelling international football games after the East German uprising of 1953. Argentina declined to participate for the third World Cup in succession. The 1954 tournament used a unique format. The 16 qualifying teams were divided into 4 groups of 4 teams each. Each group contained 2 seeded teams and 2 unseeded teams. Only 4 matches were scheduled for each group, each pitting a seeded team against an unseeded team. This contrasts with the usual round robin in which every team plays every other team, 6 matches in each group. Another oddity was that extra time, which in most tournaments is not employed at the group stage, was played in the group games if the score was level after 90 minutes, with the result being a draw if the scores were still level after 120 minutes. 2 points were awarded for a win and 1 for a draw. The 2 teams with the most points from each group progressed to the knockout stage. If the first and second placed teams were level on points, lots were drawn to decide which team would top the group. However, if the second and third placed teams were level on points, there was a play-off to decide which team would progress to the next stage. It turned out that 2 of the 4 groups required play-offs, and the other 2 required drawing of lots between the 2 top teams. The play-offs were between Switzerland and Italy, and Turkey and West Germany. In both matches the unseeded teams, Switzerland and West Germany, repeated earlier victories against the seeds, Italy and Turkey, to progress. In the other 2 groups, lots were drawn to determine the first-place teams, resulting in Uruguay and Brazil finishing above Austria and Yugoslavia, respectively. A further unusual feature of the format was that the 4 group-winning teams were drawn against each other in the knockout stages to produce 1 finalist, and the 4 second-placed teams played against each other to produce a second finalist. In subsequent tournaments it has become customary to draw group winners against second-placed teams in the first knockout round. In any knockout game tied after 90 minutes, 30 minutes of extra time were played. If the scores had still been level after extra time, in any knockout game other than the final, lots would have been drawn to decide which team progressed. However, if the final had been tied after extra time, it would have been replayed, with lots deciding the winner only if the replay was also tied after extra time. In the event, All the knockout games were decided in either normal time or extra time, with no replays or drawing of lots being required. Seeding. Before qualification was complete, the 8 seeded teams were determined by FIFA based on world rankings. They were Austria, Brazil, England, France, Hungary, Italy, Spain, and Uruguay. These seedings were thrown into disarray when, in an unexpected result, Turkey eliminated Spain in qualification. FIFA resolved the situation by giving Turkey the seeding that had previously been allocated to Spain. Notable results: West Germany, who had been reinstated as full FIFA members only in 1950 and were unseeded, convincingly won the first of 2 encounters with a seeded Turkish side at Wankdorf Stadium in Bern. The Koreans, the other unseeded team, lost 0-7 and 0-9, with West Germany being denied the chance to play such an easy opponent. Sepp Herberger, the West German coach, gambled against the seeded team of Hungary by sending in a reserve side, and lost 3-8, so they had to play off against Turkey, a match that they easily won. Hungary's team captain Ferenc Puskás, considered by many as the best player in the world in that time, was injured by West German defender Werner Liebrich, and had to miss the next 2 matches of his team, only to show up in the final again, still being in a questionable condition. In the quarter-finals, the favorites Hungary beat Brazil 4-2 in one of the most violent matches in football history, which became infamous as the Battle of Bern. Meanwhile, the World Cup holders Uruguay sent England out of the tournament, also by 4-2. West Germany dispatched Yugoslavia 2-0, and Austria beat the host nation Switzerland in the game that saw the most goals in any World Cup match, 7-5. In the first semi-final, West Germany beat Austria 6-1. The other semi-final, one of the most exciting games of the tournament, saw Hungary go into the second half leading Uruguay 1-0. Only for the game to be taken to extra time with a score after 90 minutes of 2-2. The deadlock was broken by Sandor Kocsis with 2 late goals to take Hungary through to the final, with Uruguay finally losing their unbeaten record in World Cup final matches. Uruguay then went on to be beaten for a second time as Austria secured 3rd place. The Wankdorf Stadium in Bern saw 60,000 people cram inside to watch the final between West Germany and Hungary, a rematch of a first-round game, which Hungary had won 8-3 against the reserves of the German team. The golden team of the Hungarians were favorites, as they were unbeaten for a record of 32 consecutive matches, but they had 2 tough playoff matches. It started raining on match day. In Germany this was dubbed Fritz Walter weather, Fritz Walter's weather, because the West German team captain Fritz Walter was said to play his best in the rain. Adi Dassler had provided shoes with exchangeable studs. Hungary's Ferenc Puskás played again in the final, even though he was not fully fit. Despite this he put his team ahead after only 6 minutes, and with Zoltan Schuber adding another 2 minutes later it seemed that the pre-tournament favorites would take the title. However, with a quick goal from Max Morlock in the 10th and the equalizer of Helmut Rahn in the 19th, the tie began to turn. The second half saw telling misses by the Hungarian team. Barely 6 minutes before the end of the match, the popular German radio reporter Herbert Zimmermann gave the most famous German piece of commentary, recommending that Rahn should shoot from deep, which he did. The second goal from Rahn gave West Germany a 3-2 lead, while the Hungarian reporter György Szepesi burst into tears. Later, Zimmermann called Puskás offside before he kicked the ball into Tony Purek's net with 2 minutes left. While referee Ling pointed to the center spot, linesman Griffiths signaled offside. After a 1-minute consultation, referee Ling disallowed the claimed equalizer. The West Germans rehanded the Jules Rimet Trophy and the title of World Cup winners, while the crowd sang along to the tune of the national anthem of West Germany. In Germany, the success is known as the Miracle of Bern, upon which a 2003 film of the same name was based. For the Hungarians, the defeat was a disaster, and remains controversial due to claimed referee errors and claims of doping. One controversy concerns the 2-2 equalizer. Hungarian goalie Gyula Grosics jumped to catch Fritz Walter's corner shot, but in plain sight of the camera, Hans Schäfer obstructed him, and so the ball reached Ran unhindered. The second controversy concerns allegations of doping to explain the better condition of the West German team in the second half. Though teammates steadfastly denied this rumor, German historian Guido Knopp claimed in the 2004 documentary for German public channel ZDF that the players were injected with shots of vitamin C at halftime, using a needle earlier taken from a Soviet sports doctor, which would also explain the wave of jaundice among team members following the tournament. A Leipzig University study in 2010 posited that the West German players had been injected with the banned substance methamphetamine. Most controversial was the offside ruling for Puskas's intended 87th minute equalizer. The camera filming the official footage was in a bad position to judge the situation, but eyewitnesses claimed that the referee was wrong, including West German substitute player Alfred Pfaff. However, since then, unofficial footage surfaced evidencing no offside, shown on North German regional public channel NDR in 2004.